Hey, how's it going? Nat here. Today we've got a US election special for you. Coming up on the show, Joe Biden's win, presidential puppers, and what happened to Kanye. But before we get started, why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe. After what seems like forever, Joe Biden is set to become the 46th President of the United States. He claimed victory over President Donald Trump yesterday, but there's still a long road to go before he gets to the White House. Here's Charlotte.
There's some pretty joyous scenes in the US today, as the Democrats celebrate Joe Biden claiming victory in the 2020 US election. Yup, after waiting days and days for a result, Biden took to the stage to break the news.
The people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory.
He's secured more than 74 million votes, which is more than any president's ever received in the history of the nation. He'll be joined by Madam Vice-President-Elect Kamala Harris, who will become the first woman and woman of colour to ever hold the position.
While I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
A bunch of world leaders have congratulated the pair on their achievement, including our own PM Scott Morrison.
And I look forward to forging a great partnership.
So does all this mean Biden and his fam will move straight into the White House? Not quite. He isn't officially sworn in as the president until January 20 next year, and until then, Donald Trump is still in the top job. Speaking of President Trump, he still hasn't actually accepted his defeat yet. And aside from playing a spot of golf, his team has launched a bunch of lawsuits to challenge the results, although some have already been dismissed by the courts. So watch this space, there's bound to be plenty more presidential drama ahead.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking, who are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? What do they do? What do they like? What's their favourite food? Well, don't worry, Liv's got you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Joe time.
Which you like better, these or these?
Joe, they're the same.
You capture different moods.
Joe was born all the way back in 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, on November the 20th, which for all you star sign buffs makes him a Scorpio. He was a sporty kid playing baseball and American football growing up. He's also been in politics for a very, very long time, starting with a couple of stints as class president at school. At 30, he became one of America's youngest senators in history. He served as vice president to Barack Obama for 8 years, and by the time he's officially sworn in, he'll be 78, making him the oldest US president ever. Oh, and he absolutely loves choc chip ice cream. So what about Vice President-Elect Kamala Harris? Well, she's set to be first female, first African American, and first Indian American Vice President of the US. That's a lot of firsts. Kamala is 56 years old, her star sign's Libra, and apparently she enjoys a bit of a boogie. Before politics, she worked as an attorney in California. Kamala says she hopes to be a loyal and hardworking VP.
Dream with ambition. Lead with conviction. And see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before.
We all know this has been a pretty big moment for these two, but did you also know it's been a massive moment for dogs? Yep, come January, the White House will also be home to Joe Biden's two German Shepherds, Champ and Major, with Major becoming the first ever presidential rescue dog. There's been a long history of presidential puppers, starting way back with George Washington. In fact, Trump was the first president in 100 years not to have a dog.
How would I look walking a dog on the White House lawn? Would that be...
Before then, Obama had a Portuguese water dog named Bo. George Bush had a couple of Scottish Terriers, Barney and Miss Beasley. And Bill Clinton had a dog and a cat, but I don't know if they got along. Now that the election is over, some of you might be wondering, how close did Kanye West actually come to becoming president? Well, the short answer is not very. The rapper turned kind of politician managed to snag about 60,000 votes. And while that might sound like a lot, out of a whopping 160 million, it's about 0.03%. But don't worry, Kanye fans, he's announced he'll be back in 2024. There's been no shortage of memes this US election, from Among Us to this bopping cat that keeps popping up in my newsfeed. So I thought, hey, we'd check some of them out. There was a moment there when it felt like the whole world had its eyes on Nevada, waiting for it to finish voting.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
Nevada officials said they wanted to prioritize accuracy over speed, but not everyone was willing to be patient.
Just wanna be with you.
There was also the whole push to stop the count, led by none other than the president himself, which sparked its own niche of memes, mostly featuring Count Von Count from Sesame Street. And who could forget the countless dubs of each candidate rocking it out? And now, with Biden looking to head back to the White House, albeit this time as the head honcho, memes like this one have been popping up. So it's safe to say more memes are on the way. And hopefully more subscribers are on the way too, so hit that subscribe button. See you tomorrow.